Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I have kind of been struggling with the dating pool in Amsterdam at the moment. I don't know, I feel like I need to kind of raise my standards a bit. So I figured, you know what better way to raise my standards than to read about heroes who are obsessed with their heroines. And hopefully that I'm like, okay, so if this fictional man can do this for his girlfriend, then I should not settle for crumbs, So obviously there is a spectrum. I'm not really necessarily looking for somebody who is that obsessed with me, but hopefully in reading these books, I can see my own self-worth and realize, you know what, you deserve better than the crumbs you've been fed. So let me talk about the books I'm going to be reading in this vlog, because I am gonna structure this in a 24-hour reading vlog way. So basically, I'm gonna set a timer for 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. And in that time, I wanna read as many obsessed MMC romances as I can. As I'm filming this intro, I have already read 2 of these books. And I just started the 3rd one, and I think I can get to 4 books in these 24 hours. So these 4 I definitely will get to, and then we'll see at the end of the video if I need to read another obsessed hero book. So basically, before I tell you my TBR, I basically went on Goodreads and looked up the tag boy obsessed, which I'll have that linked for you. And most of the books I actually already read, but I believe I looked at the first 3 pages and picked books from that. And yeah, let's talk about my TBR. The first book I'm going to be reading in this video is Maddest Obsession. This was literally number 2 in that list. Also, it was very high, like this series was very high on my own recommendations list of books that have been constantly kept getting recommended. And of course, the title says it all. It's literally called The Maddest Obsession. So I figured this would be perfect for this vlog. Then I really want to continue the Rinaverse series. So far I've only read her most recent series. So I started with The Legacy of the Gods. I read Kiss the Villain, and I read Beautiful Venom. So I really wanted to go back and read the first books in her Rinaverse. And I saw that Deviant King was on that list. So I'm going to be reading this book for this vlog. Unsteady was also a book that was in this list, and as you can see, I'm currently reading this. This I've been interested in for a while because a lot of people that have read this really seem to love it, and I think I will love it too. The biggest reason I think I will love it is because this hero is named Reese, and I have a very good track record with MMCs called Reese, so very excited to read this one. Tentatively last is Bound by Hatred by Cora Reilly. So I really want to continue on with this series. I started this series in 2021, I think. So far I've only read 2 of them, but I really want to get into the Cora Chronicles, and therefore I have to read the Bound by Blood series first. And this, I knew from the moment this couple was set up that this was going to be an obsessed hero. He literally follows her to the ends of the earth to try and get her. So very excited for this one. And like I said, so far the plan is to read 4 books in 24 hours, but we'll see if I can get to more. So let's cue to the vlog. Okay, so I look like a mess, but I don't care. I'm gonna be reading about men who are obsessed with their women, no matter what they look like. So we're just gonna not care about that. Anyway, let's start the timer because I want to start it tonight because I want to read a little bit before bed, and then tomorrow I have pretty long commute, so I figured I could get a lot of reading done then. Also, my camera battery is flashing, so let's get started. So I already put in sort of like the timer. Can you see that? So apparently you cannot do 24 hours, but you can do 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. So let's start it together. Let's go! And I'm gonna be reading now, so I guess I'll talk. Oh yeah, and I paused it for a sec there. I decided to go with the one that is the most clear obsession because the book is literally called The Maddest Obsession. I have not read the first book yet. Hopefully it won't matter, but I figured, it's in the title, Maddest Obsession. So, I mean, if this hero is not obsessed, then this is clearly clickbait. So I'm gonna start reading this book and I'll check in with you later. All right, so this is, I've never filmed from this angle. Anyway, as you could see, I'm freshly laundered, as Bruce Project would say. But anyway, I came here because, okay, so I'm kind of struggling with the book I'm reading, and I figured let's update you now because I've kind of skimmed a little bit of the reviews, and it seems like right where I'm at now is probably when things are changing, plus a new trope has been introduced, one that I really love. Anyway, let's talk about the synopsis first. So this is the second book in the Maid series, which of course is a mafia romance series. These obsessed heroes tend to be, like, a lot of them are in these mafia romances. In the beginning, the author did say, you know, you should read the first book before reading the second one, but I didn't listen to that. Unlike Gianna, you know, never listening to anything. So no, usually I would, but I mean, this is literally called the Maddest Obsession. So then in that case, this is like the blueprint of what I should be reading. Anyway, you follow Gianna and Christian. And Gianna is like the dutiful, no, not really, but she's like the mafia princess. When she was like 19, like very young, when she was like 19 or 20, she got married off to like this capo, I guess, this big, like important mafia guy who was very much older than her. Like his son is like older than her. So like he's her dad's age. But since he's like the first, like she was obviously a virgin when she married him, she did think that she was in love with him. But the marriage, of course, was not great for her. He hit her a lot of times and it was just not that good. And while she's married to her first husband, she has these interactions with a dirty Fed. They have this thing going on between them. It's not clear what yet, but he is very uptight. It seems like he very much has OCD tendencies. He's not actually diagnosed, but he does like everything in like to the count of 3. He wants like his life to be in order. He doesn't like messy things. And she is basically a wrecking ball, but he's drawn to her and she's very much drawn to him. And it seems like they are that drawn to each other that they literally know when the other one is in the room. So yeah, her first husband, eventually he dies. This is also, basically this book is told in 2 parts. The first part is the past. There's a bunch of time skips for that part. And then when her husband died, it seemed like her and Christian, the dirty Fed, were gonna have something, but he had to leave because of an emergency, and she kind of spirals. So she is, I'm not sure if she's an addict, but she does use drugs a lot in this book. And whenever things aren't going good for her, she tends to cope with using drugs. So on one of her binges, she does something that eventually, like, the son of, like, basically her stepson, her former stepson tells her, you tend to go out of control if you're not actually married to somebody, so pick one of my men and you have to marry him. So she basically picks the oldest guy, like the closest guy, like the guy that's closest to his grave. And Christian, after like 3 years, he returns and he's angry that she got married again. And he is obsessed with her. Like he stalks her. Like in the 3 years that he's been gone, he knows everything about her. In fact, he seems like he knows a lot of things about her in general. He is keeping a lot of secrets. Like so far, like this, in the beginning, she doesn't know anything about him. Like she barely knows his first name. She doesn't know anything about his past. The reader also doesn't know a lot about his past. She doesn't even know where he's actually from. But it seems like he's always there whenever something is wrong with her. Like whenever, like I said, whenever she has one of her binges or whenever she has panic attacks or stuff like that, he's there to either save her or calm her down. It's also kind of mysterious, like how he came to be involved in like this mafia and also being a Fed and how that kind of works. He's described as being very, very handsome. Like he has like the most icy blue eyes. And in fact, he's a touch her and I'll kill you hero, but I feel like it's, okay, so let's get into my thoughts. Right now, I am not really loving it. I do, like whenever they actually do something physical or whenever they actually interact in like a more romantic way, I do love those interactions because like I said, I like the juxtaposition between them, like personality wise. But so far, nothing much is going on. I'm a bit confused, and I don't think it's because I didn't read the first book. And I feel like, so right now I'm on page 220, so 58% of the way through. And so far, there's a lot of secrets from his past and also from her past that I feel like at this point in the story, I want to know about that because that makes me know my characters. And right now, I don't know these characters. Her, I know a little bit more about because you've seen her in her first marriage, her being abused in her first marriage, of course, and her suffering basically. Basically being this like prize and also burden to be used by the men in her life. Basically, we know that she has daddy issues, but it hasn't gone in depth yet what actually happened between her and her dad and like why. So she's afraid of the dark. We don't know why that is, but I mean we know a little bit about her. Christian, I know nothing about. Like we're getting some hints that when he was young, like he has mommy issues for sure. He used to be homeless. He has 2 brothers. He's Russian. But I feel like there's just so much more to his story and we haven't gotten that. And because we haven't gotten that, I find myself not caring too much. Also, I know I'm reading these obsessed hero romances, but right now where I'm at, it's not clear to me at all why he's so obsessed with her. Because we barely get his point of view. Like, so far I'm on chapter 19. And I'm pretty sure like only 4 or 5 of the chapters out of the 19 were from his point of view, and all the other ones were from her point of view. Meaning that, I don't know, like we rarely see him see her, you know what I mean? We only get like what she thinks about him, but it's really switched. And since they don't really communicate all that well, it's not that clear to me what is so intriguing about her for him. So therefore, I'm not that intrigued with this story. I find myself not really reading too much, but I can actually, because the timer is right here. So right now, this is where I'm at. So I have 20 hours and 15 minutes left. But like, for example, on Friday, I had a very long train ride. I could have read way more than I actually did. And then on Saturday, I also had a train ride that I also could have read a lot and I just didn't. And today I had nothing going on because I already filmed on Saturday. Sunday was like my day to kind of relax and read a lot. And I did read, just not as much as I thought I would. And I think it's because so far I'm at in the story, I just don't care if these 2 end up together. Although I do have to say now, like I said in the beginning, now there's a trope that I really love. They're neighbors now, which if you've watched my channel for a while, then you know either roommate to lovers or neighbors to lovers romances are 2 of my favorite tropes. So I'm enjoying that. And I have a feeling, hopefully, we're getting more actual background information about him and about his past because I feel like that will actually make me care. So yeah, this does have a lot of violence. Like so far he has killed, I'm pretty sure he's already killed 2 men who dared touch her. And I feel like that also, I'm confused. Like he confuses me because even though he was obsessed with her, he never actually killed any of her husbands. She's married twice. He didn't touch her husbands, yet a guy that only went with her to her apartment, they didn't actually do anything. He killed on the spot. And I'm like confused about that. And I get it, maybe in that context, they were close to becoming something more. But it also seems like he's not interested in becoming more. He just doesn't want her being with other men, basically. So, I don't know. There is cheating in here, but I mean, so basically the second husband, they never actually had sex. So because he's too old to get it up, basically. Like they've been intimate, like her and Christian, while she was technically married to this capo. And I mean, you guys know how I feel about cheating romances, but this just didn't bother me too much because their marriage didn't really feel like an actual marriage to me. So yeah, I guess those are my thoughts so far. I really thought I was going to be as obsessed with this book as he's obsessed with Gianna. Oh, what I do have to say is, I do love some of the lines in here. I feel like I think Dani, her name is Dani, right? Sorry, yeah, Danielle has a beautiful writing style. Let me read you some quotes. Regret was a hungry beast, and every day it fed. And there was this quote about her first husband where she compared him to the sun that I also really like. I liked the imagery basically. Anyway, I just highlighted too much to actually read to you. Also, there is a lot of foreign languages used because she's Italian and she speaks a lot of Italian. It seems like her English is not that good because he constantly keeps correcting her, and he is Russian. So far, he hasn't used a lot of Russian, but when he does, it's very hot. Like at one point, like I don't know, is it anyway? Yeah, I believe when they first have sex, she's like, speak to me in Russian, and he uses a sentence, and she's like, what does that mean? And he's like, you're annoying, when obviously that is not what that meant. Like, I think what it actually ended up meaning was like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, or something like that. I like that. I eat that shit up. That's like my catnip. So I'm also looking for a nickname used in a foreign language, so that is something I look forward to. So yeah, so far there are a lot of things to like, honestly, but I feel like this just doesn't feel like a romance to me yet. So hopefully in the next like 60%, no, sorry, I hopefully in the last 40% that will finally happen. So we'll see. Girl, I'm struggling. I am struggling. Okay, so basically it's Tuesday now. Yeah, and I have about 18 hours and 7 minutes left. And I'm still fucking reading Maddest Obsession. Listen, before I get started on that, my hay fever is killing me slowly, like it's slapping me around. I'm not sleeping very well, my throat hurts, I cannot even breathe. So, and that also might have something to do with it, but also this book, Maddest Obsession, I'm almost done with it. But I do have to say, with every chapter I read, I'm starting to like it less and less. So right now, I'm on chapter 30, page 328. So I only have like 42 minutes, or yeah, 46 minutes until I finish this book. I started reading some 3-star reviews, and I shouldn't have done that because all my thoughts I had about this book were kind of confirmed in those reviews. Basically, I felt like, so I told you guys in the beginning, I like Gianna in the beginning. Like, I think she's a feisty heroine. She's very fiery. I like the juxtaposition between her and Christian. He's very straight-laced. He's very, almost has to have everything that precise, like as if he's using a ruler, where she's messy, she's fiery, she's just a wrecking ball, like I said. But I just feel like there's no real characterization, especially not for Gianna. And also, this doesn't have character development. I feel like it has character regression, because Gianna, like I said, as much as I liked her in the beginning, really this girl has no personality. Like, she has no hobbies, she has no goals in life, she has no job. Like, literally all she does is live off her dead husband's money, which, I mean, good for her, for all the shit he put her through. And the only thing she does is just lounge around, sitting by the pool, waiting for Christian to come home and fuck her. That is just her days now, over and over and over again. And I feel like she could have a personality, because I feel like all the ingredients are there. It's just, it's not put together to have a very fulfilling meal, basically, because she likes cooking, for example. Why doesn't Danielle just have her be a bit more passionate about cooking, or have her try and do something with the fact that she loves cooking? In fact, she also loves gambling, and it's like mentioned here and there, but then at least have her go to a fucking casino or something. Like, have her do something other than just staying inside her house waiting for Christian to come home. Also, one thing that is really starting to bother me about this book is, even though, like I said, I like a part of her writing style, like I do like sometimes how she weaves together sentences. I think she does that very well. The problem with her writing style I have is, so what she does that I hate when books do that, I just do, and I don't know like what kind of writing style that is, but it's like a chapter will end and then a new chapter will begin, and it'd be like, it was the next morning or something like that. And then we kind of get like a paragraph of the character describing whatever happened the past night. I do not like that because it feels like it is robbing us of relationship development and probably also character development, because we're not actually getting to see what is happening. We're just getting a recap of it. And that to me is not the same. And so this is single point of view. So we could have gotten it in that moment. I just don't understand the need to have that writing style. It very much annoying me, and it's annoying me now more than it did then, like in the beginning, because in the beginning it was just flashbacks. She was together with people who we knew she was not going to end up with. So now that her and Christian are finally doing stuff together, I want to see that. I want to see them talking to each other. But really, these two do not talk to each other. They don't communicate well. The only thing they do is fuck each other well. That's it. And the only reason they like each other, it seems like only physical things. Like Gianna's described as like a very beautiful girl, okay? And he's described as being very handsome, and that women throw themselves all over him. And I know I said in my first update that I didn't understand why he was so obsessed with her. It is explained, but to me, it's just not a good explanation. So the only reason he's so obsessed with her is because she didn't throw herself at him the first moment he met her, and she's described as very beautiful. But that to me does not a relationship make, okay? She even said it so herself. Like, I can actually, let me just read you a quote. And this will it will not spoil anything. But to me, this perfectly describes why I'm not vibing with these two. So, if there was anything he asks her on a date to come with him to his job, so she does, and she's kind of miserable. So if there was anything that showed how different and incompatible we were, it was him responding to a question about a new development in bioconosis. I have no idea whatever that is. And she doesn't either, so whatever the hell that was. Well, the deepest thought in my head at that moment was which level of toner I wanted my stylist to use on my hair this week. So I just feel like the author is doing a disservice for Gianna, because she's basically described as an airhead with no actual intellectual thought in her head, when I just don't feel like that is fair. I feel like she's not a dumb girl, so I make her out to be that way, you know? So yeah, I don't like that. And what I also feel like is I feel like this heroine especially is very, very childish. So she's supposed to be 27 or 28 in the present sections, yet she sometimes reads like a 17-year-old. Like the things that sometimes come out of her mouth, I just cannot even comprehend. And I would understand in a way if she was like this sheltered, virginal, like mafia princess, but she's not really. Like, even though her first husband was a dick, he did give her some freedoms, and eventually she became a widow. And even with her second husband, they didn't even live together. She had her own apartment. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The author didn't make it make sense for me why she's acting so childish. Having said all that, I was reading this book to read about like these obsessive possessive heroes, and he is very deliciously possessive. Like the amount of times he used the word mine I cannot even count how many times he used mine. So I like that. Like, I'm a simple girl. I like simple things, and that is something I love. Also, I really love the nicknames in a foreign language. I just love that. Listen, and like I said, I'm not that complicated, okay? If there is a nickname in a foreign language, I'll just swoon any day of the week. So I'm not, a part of me understands why this is such a beloved book. But for me, reading about like a possessive hero or obsessive hero, even though obviously I do self-insert, and the more important thing for me is to understand why the girl is so infatuated with the man. For me, it's also important, maybe not equally as important, but also important to understand why the hero is so obsessed with the heroine. And to me, it just doesn't really make sense in this book, because I don't know. It is explained, but it's more like surface level. And that is, I think, my main problem with this book is everything is just surface level. And where I'm at now, 87% of the way through, I still don't know what happened to Christian in his past. Why? We finally learned what happened to Gianna, and that is awful. But they haven't had a meaningful conversation about him and his past. This relationship feels unbalanced. He makes her tell him all her deepest, darkest secrets, yet he doesn't even give an inch And I was like, I don't like that. I like balance in my romances, especially 87% of the way through. Like, I get it. Usually with romances, it's not equally balanced all the time, but when we're going towards the end of the book, it needs to be balanced for me. And so far it just isn't. So yeah. So I think like the three things, it's surface level. The characterization of the female main character is not done very well. And I'm sorry, I had to sneeze. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so like I said, the characterization for the female character is not good in my opinion. It's pretty surface level. Therefore, I just don't really believe in this romance. But obviously, I'm gonna continue reading. But I did get some mail, which I'm excited about. I got these two in the mail today. But I ordered them for this video. Both of these are supposed to have obsessed hero. This one I know for sure he's obsessed, and I mean most Rina Kent heroes are obsessed anyway. So actually, as you can see, I started this because I really like, I got to chapter 30 actually, where I'm at now, and I was like, I just need something else. I cannot continue reading this tonight. So I just started Deviant King. So I didn't want to do that. I really wanted to just read one book at a time and finish, but I mean, it is what it is. I only read the first chapter. So far I'm riveted. This, however, does take place in high school, so we'll have to see how I feel about that. This one is another heroine named Gianna. I didn't realize that, but I know he's obsessed with her. So I think since this is also Mafia, I'm gonna leave this until the end. So I just like, normally I would have just waited until I finish, but I feel like these frustrations were real enough that I wanted to talk about it. And also since I actually made the active decision to start reading another book, I felt like that it was important information to share. Tomorrow I will be making an active effort to read because I have a commute to a different city, so that will take me about like, I think I'll be traveling for about 3 hours tomorrow. So sometimes I start watching YouTube videos. I am gonna make it a goal to not do that. I think I'll just see what the timer is before I get started and like have a goal for myself. In the evening, I actually have a board game night with my colleagues. So that is fun. We'll have to see how long that will last. I don't have as much time to read in the evening, but we'll see. Hopefully I will finally finish the Maddest Obsession because that will be my goal, to finish it tomorrow. And then hopefully I'll read a good chunk of Deviant King. So yeah. I'm here to inform you that I gave this book 2 stars. And you know, I knew this was not gonna get a high rating, but honestly, right when I finished it, I thought, nah, yeah, I'm probably gonna give it 3 because even though there's plenty of things I didn't like about it, there were a lot of things I did like about it. Characters are a big thing for me in romances. Like, I need to root for characters, I need to love them, and if I just don't, if I don't understand my characters, or their decisions, or if there is no character development or any real good characterization, then that is just a recipe for disaster for me. And when I closed the book down, I just realized, I know I harped on Gianna's character development or lack thereof. Christian also didn't really have any good characterization. First of all, I don't know why this book was dual point of view, because we rarely got any point of view scenes from him, so then why have it? Because his point of view scenes didn't do anything to progress his character. Never really did anything to add to his characterization. That was just kind of lackluster. I think this will be a pretty forgettable romance for me. I don't think I'll think about these characters after today, honestly. So basically what I said before, what I was afraid of happened. Like, he only shared about his past at 97% of the book. That is just too little too late, too little too wrong. I'm sorry, like at that point, I felt like those last 2 chapters perfectly encapsulated why this book kind of bothered me. Because the first half I did really enjoy, but the second half was rushed. I felt like the amount of weight his secret should have been given, it just wasn't. It wasn't given the time it needed, and it wasn't given the weight it needed, because he told her, and then the next chapter was like, rushed over. She said that she didn't judge him, which he was afraid she was going to judge him, and that was it. They never talked about it, which falls in line with everything else in this book. Also, the only reason he actually finally told her what happened to him is when she threatened to leave him. Like, what kind of relationship is that? And I would get it if you're more in the beginning, but by this point, they have known each other for 8 years. They are working towards their HEA. I cannot believe she still had to blackmail him at 97% of the way through for him to finally open up. Then that is not a relationship. Okay, then you're just fuck buddies who sometimes share secrets with each other, okay? Also, one thing that bothered me in the end is I honestly don't know why he was a Fed. That was never part of the plot in any way, shape, or form. I still don't understand why Christian was so important to the mafia. That was never explained. It was just relying too much on readers just having to fill in things because things were never explained. They never really talked about real stuff. So I didn't like that. Like, we got one scene of him being a Fed, I guess. It made no sense. Like, I had to suspend my disbelief quite a few times, and then it didn't make, like, I didn't understand why I had to do it, since it never played any big, it never was a significant thing in the story. And I know I talked about it a bit before, but this author did this heroine no favors, because she, at the end of the day, just turned out to be a dumb girl. When, once again, like I said in my second update, she didn't need to be. She had all the fixings of being a fantastic character, and all that just fizzled out in the end. She was really dumb. If I really think about it, her constantly messing up the English language, there was no need for that. The only reason she put that in there is to explain how smart Christian was. The problem is when you do it like that, you're portraying him to be smart by making the heroine look dumb, because technically she's the one that grew up in the US. There's no real reason, that was never explained, why she messed up her words so much. Whereas he's the one that technically, you know, he came to the US when he was already an adult. So I don't know, like, you gave your hero a good trait by basically shitting on your heroine, and I don't like that. It, once again, unbalanced. Also, like I said, the way, like, the fact that she did nothing in her life, she was the most unproductive member of society. And one other thing, and that is a major, that's, I don't know, is it a major spoiler? It is a spoiler, so I'll have a spoiler tag right here. If you still have any interest in reading this book, just check back once the spoiler is over, but I'm gonna talk about the spoiler now. On top of everything, like, the thing that made her the dumbest is that she didn't realize she was pregnant. Okay, she didn't realize she was pregnante. She didn't realize she was pregnate. She didn't realize she was... Anyway.
Am I pregnant? Help? Is there a possibility that I'm pregnant? Am I pregnant or am I okay? Could I be pregonate? How do I know if I'm prengan? Can I be pregnant? Can u get pregante?
How could she not realize? I knew halfway through the book. First of all, you knew you were having unprotected sex with your boyfriend. You knew he came inside of you several times. And then when you start having flu-like symptoms, when you start gaining weight, how can you not put 2 and 2 together? She was already 11 weeks pregnant by the time she found out. How am I that I could not deal with. Like, the thought of her being pregnant didn't even cross her mind. Constantly, she was like, I have flu-like symptoms. And then she would fuck her boyfriend again and let him come inside her again without a condom. Like, girl! Anyway, that was just the nail in the coffin for her stupidity, in my opinion. Moving on. Oh yeah, what I also wanted to say is, I realized yesterday that I don't think it's my hay fever, because I looked and the pollen count is not that much. I think I have the flu. And no, I did not have unprotected sex recently, so it cannot be that I'm pregnante, okay? It's just, I do have the flu. So that was, I just had to laugh at myself, especially since I went off. I never claimed that I'm the smartest person out there, but I mean, it made sense. It is fucking hot outside. How am I having the flu right now? It made no sense. I don't know if it's the flu. I have a cold, basically, which makes no sense, like I said. It is not cold out. So anyway, we're gonna move on. You're free to watch now if you haven't read this book. I will tell you, like I said, I told you that this has a lot of good tropes that I enjoy. I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep insisting on filming with the window behind me when it's still light out. Anyway, so this is definitely a touch her and I'll kill you hero. There's 2 caretaking scenes. One is an actual physical caretaking scene, and the other one is more mental caretaking. There's several scenes where he calls her mine, which obviously I love, very much a possessive hero. It's a forbidden romance. There's a cheating aspect in here. Pining, mutual pining basically. So he's definitely a pining hero, but she's also a pining heroine. There's a who hurt you scene in this book. To neighbors, to lovers, which is one of my favorites, of course. And there's, like I said already, a nickname in a foreign language. He calls her Malishka, which means baby. And he also calls her Moja Zvezdoshka. Let me hear how that's actually pronounced.
Моя звездочка. Моя звездочка.
Okay. That, which means little star. Stop, I love that, okay? And there's a secret tattoo. That is one of my favorite tropes. So yeah, like I said, it had a lot of things going for it, which is why I'm even more upset that it just didn't deliver in the end. So those were my thoughts. Like I said before, I already started Deviant King. Oh yeah, and let me tell you about my timer. So I still have 17 hours and 23 minutes left. And so far I've only read chapter 1 of Deviant King. I cannot really tell you a whole lot about it. But, oh yeah, what I was gonna say. I told you yesterday that I had a very long commute. When I got to the train station, none of the trains were going. I was like, oh my God. So I had to come back and I worked from home. So it didn't turn out that I had a very long commute. But in between, like during my lunch break, stuff like that, I could read when normally I can't. So that was nice. Now I have I'm going to the city. So that's going to take me about an hour or so. So I anticipate that I will be reading a bit. So I guess I'll just update. So how long is this book? 345 pages. So I guess I'll update you once I'm like 150 to 170 pages through. I'll see you once I've read a big chunk of Deviant King. I'm very excited. Since so I have started reading Rina Kent in her later book. So I started reading her in The Legacy of Gods. So it's interesting to read like her first books and see if I still like her writing in her earlier days. But I am trying to lower my expectations because obviously by the time she'd written Legacy of God, she'd already written like 20 books or something. So I really want to refrain from comparing this to her most recent work. So enough yapping. Let's get reading. All right, I'm back. And honestly, so today I'm sounding a bit better. Yesterday, I barely really, I read a little bit, but I was not feeling the best. And the clips you saw of me were clips I filmed the day before. So yeah, this vlog's not going too well, but I am really enjoying the book I'm reading. So, like I said in my earlier update, I was starting Deviant King. Right now I'm on page 164. And I actually grabbed Aiden and Elsa's son's book to kind of look at the family tree. So this is their son. Isn't he hot? Anyway, Eli, of course. But anyway, Deviant King. You follow Elsa and Aiden. This is single point of view story, so you only really get Elsa's point of view. And she recently got into Royal Elite School, and the name says it all. It's for the elite people that go there are the sons and daughters of politicians, of very rich people, and her past is not clear yet, but her parents have died. She lives with her aunt and uncle. And the first day she gets to this new school, the most popular boy in school, Aiden King, comes up to her, starts choking her, and tells her that he will destroy her. So that all happened 2 years ago, and now flash forward to current day, where she's being bullied severely by the whole school. Aiden really pays her no mind. And she has this goal. She wants to go to Cambridge. So she just tries to get through her days and her senior year for her goal to get into Cambridge. So she only has one friend, somebody who's also severely bullied. Her name is Kim. She's gonna have I'm very excited for her book because her book sounds like a childhood friends to enemies to lovers romance, which I'm so excited about. Anyway, going back to Elsa and Aiden. So Elsa is being called Frozen. And not because of the Disney movie, but because she is cold as ice. She has very, very blonde hair. And when people bully her, she kind of lifts up her head and tries to pay them no mind. There's rumors about her being a teacher slut. So like she's being like, the bullying is pretty much out of hand. Like I said, when we get to 2 years later, she's 18 now. And like right away, honestly, so the stuff I just described, her getting to this new school, that was only chapter 1. And chapter 2, we already have the 2 years later. And like really fast after that, Aiden already shows interest. So one day, Elsa's following Kim and Xander, who's going to be Kim's love interest, the bully. And he's... Okay, so basically this school... I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Aiden is a football player or soccer for the Americans watching. And basically him and his 3 friends are like the 4 horsemen. They're the most popular boys in school. They're on the football team. And in fact, Aiden's cousin, who got the prequel book basically, is Levi, which of course he is Lan and Bran and Glenn's father. He is a famous football player playing for Arsenal, so that was fun. I'm definitely looking forward to his book too. She follows Xander and... Is his name Xander? Yeah, Xander. So she follows them, and Xander is pushing Kim's buttons. It seems like he's touching her, so Elsa is filming them, and then Aiden comes up to her, wanting the phone, and she tries to keep the phone, so eventually she puts it in her bra, and he's like, "You think that will stop me?" So he basically like rips up her blouse and tries to get the phone, and then... Eventually, Xander kind of gets in on it. Aiden tells him to hold her down while he is touching her. So definitely very much, like every other Rina Kent book, very much at the very least, dubious consent. So she has these scars, like on her breast. She has a heart condition, and she doesn't remember what happened in her past. So the reader doesn't know where she got the scar from, and Aiden seems to be enamored with her scar. So after that incident, Aiden kind of starts stalking her, basically. He basically shows up where she is. Eventually he even shows up at her house, charming her aunt and uncle, because her aunt and uncle, they're pretty rich too, but not as rich as Aiden's family. And in fact, they have their own company, but the company is very much reliant on the King enterprise, which of course is Aiden's family's business. And he starts texting her, telling her all the things he wants to do with her, and she wants him to leave her alone because he is the reason people bully her. So that's pretty much where I am at now. He wants her to be his. He asks her that several times. Already there's like a scene where she's pretending to be Xander's girlfriend and Aiden just loses it, okay? When he's normally like very calm and stoic, he ends up hitting Xander, so that was fun to watch. So I am enjoying it. I do have to say, so they have a trilogy. I truly don't understand why that is necessary. I have a feeling it has a lot to do with Elsa and her past is the reason why we're getting a trilogy. And of course, I have to believe that something in their romance will prevent them from actually having their HA at the end of this book. But I'm enjoying it. I really like Rina's writing style. I do have to say, in this book, you can definitely see, like, I really, like I said, I've always liked her writing style. I really love some of the quotes she has. But I do feel like at this point, she could have used a bit of an editor, because the amount of times she uses like the devil analogy or the hell analogy, and the way how repetitive that is kind of grating a bit. Like I felt like, okay, we get it. Okay, he's the devil and he's surrounded with demons. I get it now. You don't need to belabor the point. Okay, we get the analogy. We can stop now. But I mean, I'm giving her grace. I know where her writing will end up. So I'm fine with it. I do have to say, I really love seeing all the parents, because like I said, I started with Legacy of Gods, which is a next generation series. So seeing all the parents, I really enjoy. So far, obviously, the people we've seen the most are, of course, Aiden and Elsa, but also Xander and Kimberly, and their story is definitely the one I'm looking forward to most. And what's funny is that their daughter is Cecily, who, of course, her book is one of my favorites. It's God of Wrath. So it would make sense that her parents' book would intrigue me the most. But to be honest, I was looking forward to that book before I realized who their daughter was. So yes, like I said, I'm enjoying it. I don't know if this is gonna be my one of my favorite Rina Kents. I don't think it's gonna be, because so far I've never, this is the first time I've seen her actually write a trilogy about one particular couple, and of course that is not what I'm used to from her. So we'll see how I feel about that. And actually I started tabbing. I don't know if you can see that. And I used the colors that I felt like fit the book. So that is fun. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue reading. Let me show you the timer, because I just passed. So I'm on 14 hours and 55 minutes, meaning I've already read about 9 hours so far. So I am doing pretty well, but I feel like because I didn't feel too well yesterday, because yesterday I barely read. You know what I did? I watched YouTube videos about plane crashes, which is a dumb move considering I have a very long flight later in July. So that was so dumb. But yeah, I could not really focus on reading too much yesterday. But today I have the whole evening to read, so I will for sure read. Hopefully I'll get to, let's see, timer wise, it would be great if I got to the 12-hour mark. We'll see if I can accomplish that. Actually, no, because, okay, so today is Friday. Sunday I want to post this video around the usual time, and Sunday I'm also filming, so I need to make more progress today. We'll see. I'll update you regardless once I finish. Oh, and I do have to say one other thing I wanted to say. This has really short chapters, and I'm always very intrigued to continue on. So the only reason I'm putting it down is because it's not because the book is boring or anything. It's just because I said, okay, only 3 more chapters or only 4 more chapters. Because, I don't know, I like the way she ends pretty much every chapter on a tiny cliffhanger. And like I said, the chapters are very short, so it's very easy to say, okay, let's just add another chapter, especially if it ends on a cliffhanger. So I do enjoy that. So I'm having the best time reading about this guy's parents. And I'll check back with you later. All right, I figured, since I tend to film at the very, I tend to have 2 spots where I film, which one of them is my bed, to be fair. But I figured, you know what, let's just mix it up and let me talk to you, give you an update while I'm actually getting ready, because I have to film a couple videos. So I figured let's talk to you while I'm getting ready, you know. Okay, so I finished, also before I get started, my hair feels greasy ever since I've been using a new shampoo. And I would change the shampoo up, except it is so expensive. So anyway, you don't care about that. Let's move on. Okay. So I finished Deviant King yesterday. I wanted to update you yesterday, but I also wanted to sit with my thoughts for a bit. I wasn't sure really how I felt about it. So yeah, so I slept on it, and now it's the next day, and I feel like I have solidified my thoughts. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And I think the main I think this might have been a 5-star had this been one book. But since I know it's already gonna be, it's only 1/3 of their story, I don't know. I feel like I cannot give it 5 stars. Maybe once I finish their entire trilogy, I will change my mind and go back and change the rating, although I don't think so, because honestly, the story I'm looking forward to most is Kim and Xander's book. Anytime they're in a scene, I am just salivating at the thought of getting their story. So, and knowing that I need to read 2 other books first before I get to their story, when in a different timeline where this would have been just one book, I would have gotten their story right away. I feel like that is kind of hindering my enjoyment a little bit. I didn't need to strain my hair that much. So let me change into a different outfit and put on some, oh no, wait. I'm all over the place. You can see that this is not something I'm used to. I'm gonna put on some moisturizer. Okay, so the book ends on a cliffhanger. I did buy the second book, but since I have other reading obligations, I cannot get to it right away. So as far as my thoughts are concerned, I did enjoy it. Everything I said in my first update still stands. I do have to say, I feel like in the second part, I felt like she did a little bit less, she repeated less, which I enjoyed, of course, considering that was one of the things that bothered me. Like the amount of time this guy used mine, I obviously really loved. You guys know I love that when a book does that. I do have to say, this guy reminds me a lot of Carter Mahoney. So aside from Killian, who obviously also reminded me of Carter, Aiden also really reminds me. I'm more in like the manipulative aspect of Carter. So if you, I mean, I don't know why you would actually want that in real life, but if you like that in like a anti-hero fictional MMC, I would say definitely pick this book up, because the way he, I don't know, it's bad, obviously, I do realize that, but it is also entertaining when he's like, you know, you have to do this, otherwise I'm gonna, he kind of uses Elsa's friend against her, basically. So obviously she loves Kim, and she knows that Zeta, is his name Zeta? No. Oh my god. Xander, sorry, Xander. She knows Xander has something, like she thinks he wants to hurt her. Obviously we know that isn't, now maybe, but he's like, if you don't do this for me, then I'm gonna have Xander take Kim home and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just like that level of unhinged boggles the mind, really. But like I said, it is reminiscent of Carter, who also did similar things. 1 second. All right, I'm back. I changed, as you can see. Let's continue. Okay, so what was I saying? I'm sorry, this, I might not do this ever again, because this update is all over the place. So I did enjoy it. I like both characters. I did enjoy the fact that Elsa both knew when she could fight back and also knew when to kind of step down. After this book, there's still like a lot of mystery. Like, we still don't know what really happened to Elsa in her past. We still don't know what happened to Aiden. And it's funny to read this because obviously I have read their children's book. So, like for example, Jonathan King, like I'm not sure, but he just doesn't seem like a very good guy in this book. Whereas I mean, if it's the same Jonathan King, I know like what he will turn out to be. So, I mean, I know he will get his own books. I get that. I haven't read those yet. Overall, like I said, let's just cut back. I did enjoy it. I like them together. I feel like she has enough of a spine to set up against him. This is also a single point of view, which I feel like works for this book. And I'm wondering if the next books in their trilogy will also be single point of view, because sometimes I am interested to get Aiden's thoughts, but for now, at least in this first book, it's interesting to only get her thoughts. What else? One thing I do have to say, and let me grab the book to explain it. So I feel like there's a lot of, obviously, chess. Like there's chess pieces on the cover. Every chapter starts off with a chess piece. And they do mention chess a couple times. Like he tells her, do you want to be the queen or do you want to be a pawn? But both of them apparently do love chess. So I would have loved like a chess playing scene. Hopefully we'll get that in another book. So there is a lot of talk about football, which you guys know. Oh, I mean, I don't know if you know, but I don't really love sports. I don't really watch sports, except for whenever there's a World Cup or European Cup in football or soccer for the Americans watching. Then I get possessed by a football-loving ghost and I need to watch every single game. So that is like, of all the sports, that is the one sport I do know a bit about. So I did enjoy all that. So this obviously takes place in high school. To me, it doesn't really feel that way, like, at all. Like, it seems like if I compare them to the Legacy of Gods, it's like they're similar. They sound similar, and obviously it might have something to do with the fact that these are seniors, obviously, in high school, so that would make sense. Like, they're not too far off as far as age goes. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure they're 18, and the younger characters in Legacy of Gods were 19, so that makes sense. So this was just a solid, enjoyable time. I don't really have a lot of thoughts, but that is obviously because, well, for me, it feels like I don't really have a lot of thoughts because their story hasn't been told completely yet. So I'm interested to see where we left off on this book, what will happen, like especially what Elsa's gonna do, if her character is gonna change in any way. So yeah, I had a good time. And oh yeah, as far as the obsession is concerned, yes, this is definitely an obsessed hero. It's clear in almost everything he does, but also the way other people talk about it. Like, there are a couple scenes where other people have come up to Elsa and have told her, you know, he's been obsessed with you for years. So that is fun to read about. Also, like, the obviously with obsession and obsessed heroes and possessive heroes, they're the same. The same kind of heroes that are obsessive usually also are possessive, and I did like all the possessive talk. Like, you're mine, even though you're not technically my girlfriend yet, you're still mine, you know, those shit. Like, I am a simple girl, I like simple things, and that is one thing I genuinely adore. So yes, oh my god, what happened? So yeah, I guess those are my thoughts. I for sure enjoyed this more than Maddest Obsession. Oh yeah, one thing I did, like, they mentioned, like, literally mentioned that he was, like, madly obsessed or something like that. So that was, like, a nice reference to obviously another book I read for this vlog. I did start Unsteady, and I'm on page 27. So I don't have a lot of thoughts, any thoughts really. So I guess I'll update you once I'm, like, halfway through. Oh yeah, oh, one thing, oh my god. Girl, I think this is my one and only time I'll talk to you while I also get ready. I'm further in with my timer, but I did take a screenshot when I finished Deviant King. So when I finished Deviant King, I was still on 12 hours and almost 2 minutes on the timer. Right now, the timer is at 11 hours and 33 minutes. So, and I'm gonna change things up because technically I wanted the video to go up today as I'm filming, but that obviously is not gonna happen. So this might be my Wednesday video, and that's okay too. I don't know what's up with this mascara, but it's not doing what I want. So I'm gonna let you go now, and you'll see me in my next update. Okay, I am actually getting ready to leave to go to my parents', which is about an hour and a half commute going there and then an hour and a half coming back. So I think I have about at least 2 hours to read. So I figured let's just give you the update now, and then hopefully I'll almost finish it when I get back. So let's give you the timer first. So I have about 9 hours and 55 minutes left on the timer, and I am currently reading Unsteady. I'm on chapter 14, page 114. I started it physically, but then I realized, wait a minute, this book is on Everand, so I am currently reading it on Everand. And I do have to say, I wish I had read a bit more before updating you, but I know that if I come back from my parents, I will already be almost done. So I figured now is the best time. So this book is very sad. You follow Sadie and Reese, which of course Reese, I already know. Like, we're gonna see if he is one of my favorite Reeses. I'll actually talk about that once I finish. But anyway, this is a college romance. It's a sports romance. Both of them are athletes. He is a hockey player, of course. She is a figure skater. You start the book off in Reese's point of view. And 3 months ago, he had an accident on the ice that left him with panic attacks. So Sadie and Reese don't really get off on the right foot when she's late to pick up her brothers when they're in their hockey training that Reese gives. So he kind of tells her that first of all, he thinks she's their mother, and he's like, you know, parents should be there for their kids, and she's like, you know, fuck you, basically. But then they meet each other the next day when he's having a panic attack on the ice, and she talks him out of his panic attack. Eventually, she starts having him listen to music because she knows that with her brothers, that usually calms them down too. And that does help. Like, her presence helps him, plus her music also helps him. In fact, at one point, he calls her kind of like an angel because she's the only one that can calm his panic attacks down. Aside from his panic attacks, he like has a pretty good life. His father is a famous hockey player, and he's an only child. His parents very much care for him a lot. So he is like a rich boy, basically. She, however, has a very, very tough life. Her father is an alcoholic, and her mother is nowhere in sight, basically. She is basically left to care for her two younger brothers. She's in college, like I said, but like her two brothers are significantly younger than her. I believe one is 11 and the other one is 9 or something like that. And she basically has so much going on. Like, she has to work 2 jobs. She has to go to college. She has to take care of her brothers. She's very much overwhelmed. And she's also trying to get custody of her brothers from her father, who's basically a bum and constantly taking her money and really doing nothing good for them. I do have to say, he's not an abusive father, so at least there's that. But I mean, he doesn't take care of them at all. Like, he's basically a waste of space. So she's trying to get custody for her brothers. So she really doesn't have any time to date or anything. What she does do, however, is hook up with some guys to kind of get out her frustrations, basically. But now Reese is very much interested in her. He likes her. He likes how feisty she is. So she, like, right where I'm at now, she's not that nice of a character. And I understand, because she has so much going on that I'm like, of course, you don't have time for bullshit. Or like, she tends to lash out at people, and Reese, since they're spending so much time together, seems to be the person who gets the bulk of her snippy comments. But she does realize that if she like flirts with him a little bit, it seems to calm him down too. So they have an interesting dynamic, but he's very interested in her. Like, for right away, I understand why this is an obsessed hero, because, you know, she's definitely constantly on his mind. Plus the fact that 3 months and nothing has helped him, and she's really the only one that has helped him, obviously makes her very special in his eyes. I do know this will turn into like a friends with benefits situation, because like her prospects have not changed. Like, her life is still very much not going too well. And she is busy, like, oh yeah, and also since she's a figure skater, and something happened last year that I don't know what that is, but she's basically on probation. Her coach tells her the only way you can continue is if you have a certain amount of hours on the ice. And if you don't adhere to that, then there's your scholarship, basically, which she needs that to get through college since she doesn't have any other money. So that is on top of everything, like working, taking care of her brothers, going to school, and also getting ice time. That all, like, there's not enough hours left in the day. There are a couple interactions between Sadie and Reese so far. They've had 2 scenes where they kissed each other, and she basically both times kind of cut it off. This very much reminds me of Binding 13. So if you really enjoyed that book, I think you could definitely enjoy this one. This feels a little bit less heavy, where I'm at now, at least. I feel like Reese very much more of a sad boy than Johnny was. Like, Johnny was also injured, but it was like more of a physical thing and not a mental thing, whereas obviously Reese has these panic attacks. But other than that, like, both of them are the only children to a pretty rich family, and their parents very supportive. And I would say Sadie and Shannon also are not that similar, but they both have alcoholic dads, and both of them really have to take care of their younger siblings. And that part is not as heavy as Binding 13, because that has abuse, obviously, and Shannon is a little bit less of an assertive character than Sadie is, but they have similar plot beats. So I think if you enjoy one, you can definitely enjoy the other. I love both characters. Like I said, Sadie is a prickly heroine, but to me, already it makes sense why she's that way. It's clear that the people around her, like the people she cares about, she would go to the ends of the earth to take care of them. And even with Reese, as much like when she saw him panicking on the ice, even though he was rude to her the day before, she doesn't even think twice about it. She goes and comforts him and helps him out. And I do like that. And Reese, oh my God, my sweet, sad boy. I love him already. He's so, I don't know, I really like him. The things he already does for her, he has endeared me to him so much. Both of them have their flaws, but it makes sense. They're college students, so all of that makes sense. I'm definitely enjoying it. I am interested to see how their relationship is going to develop, and like the whole friends with benefits thing, because usually, you guys know, I'm not really that big a fan of hookup situations. And honestly, I think most of the time, what makes me not a fan is if I don't understand why one of them insists on it just being hooking up. Whereas I think in this case, obviously I'm not sure yet, but I think in this case I understand. Like, she literally doesn't have the time. And she's like, I don't have the time to have another person to take care of, basically. Which, that also kind of makes sense. Like, she already has her 2 brothers, her father, I don't know. So it does make sense. So in that case, I can understand. But I already know Reese is gonna break my heart. So far, yes, Reese is living up to his name for sure. And I also like the fact that she kind of made fun of his name. So she explicitly writes it the wrong way. So obviously Reese, you write it as every other fictional Reese. So R-H-Y-S, where she says that it should be written R-E-E-S-E. So that's kind of fun. But yeah. So I believe the other couple that's going to get the next book has already been introduced. And for the 3rd book, I know at least the MMC has already been introduced too. So I am enjoying this book, but it is sad. Like, I knew that going in. And I'm interested to see how far Reese will go in his obsession. But of course, this is a contemporary romance. It's a college romance. So I don't think you can compare it to the mafia romances. But like I said, I am interested. So I have a day of reading ahead of me, and I think I'll just update you once I finish. Unless there's a scene that I really need to react to, and in that case, I'll just film it on my phone. That's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this weather. It's very hot here, and I'm already sweating, and I haven't even been outside yet. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. I finished Unsteady today, and I gave it 5 stars. This book just proved to me that it's not necessarily an obsessed hero that I'm looking for. Apparently, I'm just looking for a guy named Reese, because this guy proved that guys named Reese are a superior, okay? Like, he definitely joins the Reese Hall of Fame. In fact, he might actually be my 2nd favorite Reese. That is how great this hero was. Having said all that, oh, let me just grab my phone 1 sec. There were points where I was really struggling with this book. In fact, this book took me way longer to read than I anticipated. In fact, I'm not sure if I can actually finish the 24 hours because I need to do this vlog. I want to do another reading vlog plus 2 new releases videos, all in the span of like a week and a half. So we'll have to see. And the reason I struggled with it is, I would say, like a big chunk in the middle. Okay, let's just walk through the things that were bothering me. And like I said, I still gave it 5 stars. I think this is gonna be one of my favorite books I read this year, because the ending was just beautiful, and we had to get through all the tough shit and all the hard parts and all the things that made it tough to read to get to that beautiful ending. So in hindsight, I definitely get why that all had to happen. And even while it was happening, I could sympathize, I could understand, but that just didn't make it any easier to read. So I do want to talk about that part, and it's not gonna spoil anything, don't worry. So what I mainly want to talk about is like the unbalanced relationship. And like I said, it makes sense. Don't interpret this as me bashing Sadie, because I'm definitely not. Like, she has a fucking horrible life. The things that have been thrust upon her it's just not fair. Her life is not fair. She is a college student. She's supposed to have fun and enjoy her college life, and instead she has to take care of her 2 brothers. She has to take care of her father who steals from her. Like, I get that her life is horrible. I get that. So as much as I can sympathize with it, it does make the relationship so unbalanced. Like, as much as I sympathize and want to hug Sadie, I also want to sympathize and hug Reese. And the problem is that it's Sadie who's hurting Reese. And like I said, obviously not towards the end, I get it. But in that middle portion, I was really struggling with it. Like, I felt so sorry for Reese. Like, he was so, like, it was clear this is an obsessed hero. He was so upfront and very, very clear about his feelings. And she kept pushing him away and pushing him away. I just wanted to hug Reese. Like, I just felt so sorry for him. And I think the scene that encompassed that all was the birthday scene. So it's like gonna be a mild spoiler, but I really needed to talk about it. So basically, this birthday scene just reminded me of Taylor Swift and Jake Gyllenhaal and the fact that he didn't show up at her birthday party. So let me just read the scene. Like, let me just read 2 sentences and then read you the lyrics for The Moment I Knew by Taylor Swift. And that just comparison is perfect, honestly. So he invited her to his birthday party and she accepted. And I do have to say, like, the way he kind of coerced her into coming. But I mean, like, she could have said no and he would have accepted it. I know that I know that 100%. So she told him that she was gonna come, and then she showed up 2 hours late. And when she finally shows up, he's nowhere to be found. So she goes up to his friends. And one of his friends says, and the friend who says that is like the Playboy guy, the kind of like, it's Freddie, who's gonna have the next book, which I'm so excited about. But basically he is kind of like her, you know, constantly sleeping around, not really interested in a committed relationship. And even he is so upset. So she is asking them where Reese is. And Freddie is like, you know, not happening, get out. And his other friend, Bennett, is like, you know, take it easy. And he's like, no, you saw him. He stared at the fucking door all night waiting for her. You've already heard him once tonight. Considering your track record, I think it'd be better if I stop you now. You don't give a shit about him. So let me read you the lyrics. I mean, it's the fucking same thing, honestly. Okay. You should have been there, should have burst through the door with that baby I'm right here smile, and it would have felt like a million little shining stars had just aligned, and I would have been so happy. Christmas lights glisten, I've got my eye on the door just waiting for you to walk in, but the time is ticking. People ask me how I've been as I comb back through my memory, how you said you'd be here. You said you'd be here. And what do you do when the one who means the most to you is the one who didn't show? And it was like slow motion, standing there in my party dress in red lipstick with no one to impress. And they're all standing around singing happy birthday to you, but there was one thing missing, and that was the moment I knew. Obviously, I don't want to compare Sadie to Jake Gyllenhaal, okay, because I don't like Jake Gyllenhaal. But I could not, like, when that happened, so that was, like I said, it was around halfway through the book. A part of me honestly just wanted to DNF because it just hurt too much. And like I said, I understand. And that is what's sucky. Like, if I didn't understand, I could be like, oh, fuck Sadie and she needs to grovel. When in this case, I knew that she was struggling so much. She was just trying to protect her heart. I get all that. But once again, it just didn't make it easy to read. And this once again just solidifies for me that hookup romances need to do a lot of heavy lifting for me to actually love them. And this book this book ended up doing it, obviously, because it was so beautiful. Like, when I finished this book, so I was reading the last portion on the tram, and when I read the epilogue, I literally cried on the tram. And if you've watched my channel for a while, you know it's very, very hard for me to cry when I'm reading a book, but this epilogue definitely, I had tears in my eyes. I think if I was alone in my house, I would have 100% sobbed like a little baby. It was beautiful. I thought this romance was beautiful. And like I said, I get it. Like, for example, Wolf Song by TJ Klune is one of my favorite books of all time. Like, that is also a hard-earned HEA. Like, it is a very sad book. It's not until the very end that they finally are happy together. So I feel like this also stuck the landing. Like, yes, it was painful. Yes, it was hard to read. Yes, sometimes I wanted to hug these characters and wanted to slap them. But I think all of that was needed for me to root for them and believe in their HEA. So I 100% recommend this book. I gave it 5 stars, but it is sad, and a big portion of it is sad. And this, it's not just the romance, because I think she did a wonderful, wonderful job with the side characters. And now I'm more upset actually, because I got this copy that's a bit dinged up, and at the time, so I don't even know if you can see that. Normally, I would 100% return it, but I think I just didn't have the time when this book showed up, so maybe I'll buy another copy one day. But I think she did a wonderful, wonderful job with the side characters. Like, Let's talk about her little brothers. I like, if kids are done well in books, like there's a higher probability that I'm gonna love your book. And Oliver and Liam were so adorable. I think she did such a good job with them, and I was rooting for them every step of the way. I just wanted the best for them, and I really loved all the scenes with them. They were so adorable, and both of them were really different, but like they were scene stealers. They have my whole heart and soul, and if I was Reese's mom, I also 100% would do anything and everything in my power to make sure these little boys, but also Sadie, were taken care of. Also, the other side characters, she did such a good job setting up the other romances. And I know there's going to be a book about Freddie. Of course, that's going to be the next one. And Ro, her best friend. I'm so excited about that. That is a athlete tutor romance, which is one of my favorite tropes. Okay, Nayli vibes. I know for sure. Probably I'm really going to love that book. I just know it. Then the next book is going to be about Bennett. I'm also very excited about that. But I really want her to write a romance for Torin, which I do think she will. And that, like, that if she's gonna do that, I know I'm gonna love that, because I love a good villain turned hero origin story. But to be honest, even like all of those stories I'm very excited about, but what I really want her to do is write a prequel romance about Reese's parents. They were also scene stealers. Like, as much as I loved Sadie and Reese and was obviously swooning when they did have some beautiful moments, I was obviously laughing, giggling, and kicking my feet. But when I was really giggling and kicking my feet was every scene with Reese's parents. I just love them so much. Like, I love Max and Anna. Like, their story sounds like the best thing ever. And while reading it, I looked up her Goodreads. Like, all the signs for me were that she has already written their book and it's already published, but there's no such thing. This is, I believe, her debut novel, which is crazy to me. Like, I have a feeling like she must have their story in her draft somewhere, right? I just want that story more than any other story. So yeah, like I said, I did want to talk about it. And I think I would have talked about it had I done my first update a little bit later, but since I was short on time, I didn't. I didn't want to talk about the things that were bothering me, but having said all that, I love this book. I gave it 5 stars, and I do think it will show up in my favorites of the year. And this Reese definitely is up there for me. He's so beautiful and wonderful. It was so sweet. And I was rooting for everybody in this story. And to be honest, I know I compared this to Boys of Toman. That couple got like 800 pages or something, whereas this one only got 350. I think I could have read 200 more pages of these two. Not if it was all pain, but yeah, definitely, it was beautiful. So definitely Obsessed Hero. This is definitely my favorite of the vlog so far. Editing Aya here, and while editing, realized that I harped, sorry for the mess. Anyway, I harped too much on the sadness of this book, which, yes, that is true. That it is a sad book, but I never truly talked about the romance. I only talked about the fact that it was imbalanced. Everything I said still holds true, but I did want to talk about, the romance in itself. I really loved it. Like, first of all, let's talk about both these characters. Let's talk about Sadie first, since I felt like I was kind of doing her dirty in my second update. I love how determined she is. I love how much she loves her brothers. I loved how much she loves Ro. I loved their friendship so much. I wish we could have gotten to see more of that. And I really love the interactions between her and her brother. I love their relationship. I love that they called her Sissy, and it was just adorable. I just know this girl would move mountains for the people she loves. She was ready to give up everything. Like, she's a smart girl. She's a very talented girl. She was willing to give up everything just to take care of her brothers. Very commendable. Like, I definitely, as much as, yes, she did hurt Reese sometimes, I respect her a lot. And honestly, I wish we could have gotten to see more of her. Like, I just wish we could have gotten to see just her chilling with Ro and maybe her brothers. We never really got to see that. And Reese. What can I say about Reese? Okay, he was definitely perfect. Like, I cannot even Like, I love the way he loves her from the very beginning. Like I said in one of my updates, he was clear on what he wanted, and that was Sadie. And nothing and no one was gonna stop him from loving her, including Sadie. And I just really love that. And as much as he was hurting too, like this book starts off with him having severe panic attacks and anxiety. Oh, going back to Sadie, sorry. This review is all over the place. I also really loved her character progression of slowly trusting these strangers to her, you know? Like, I love how she slowly trusted Reese, and then eventually she slowly started trusting his parents. I did love seeing that, and it was very organic to me. It would make sense that it would take her a while, but then when she does finally give that trust, it is hard-earned, hard-won. It's beautiful, honestly, and that is like one of the things that definitely make me cry. Going back to Reese, I also like really loved his friendship with the hockey guys. I really loved his relationship with his parents. Like, that was like, those three together were a ray of sunshine to me. And I also love that it wasn't perfect. Like, at the beginning of the book, he has some sort of strange relationship with his father, and the reader doesn't know why. It seems to be out of place, and then eventually it does get revealed to us why that is, and it was also kind of heartbreaking. He was definitely, like, he was an obsessive hero, but also a possessive hero. The way he wanted to make her his, but also the way he was begging for her to make him hers was swoon-worthy. And this guy, I really love how he loves to praise her, especially in the bedroom. Like, the way he sometimes said things like good girl or you're so beautiful during sex. I was like swooning hardcore for him. So definitely a down bad hero. He falls first. He definitely falls harder. But sometimes he would get, you know, a little bit dominant. Like, sometimes, especially when she needed it, out of the bedroom too. For example, when she is nervous about competing or something, he's like, tell me you're a killer. Say it, you know, stuff like that. And also, like, the scene I talked about with his birthday, when I'm like, so he coerced her into going, it was actually him denying her an orgasm, and he wouldn't let her come unless she promised him that she would go to his birthday party. But then afterwards they did talk about it. She did promise him. So this is actually also a touch her and I'll kill you hero. And it's not necessarily that, but he's like, look at her again, see what happens. So, I mean, if that's not a touch her and I'll kill you, I don't know what is. I really also loved his relationship with her brothers. The way he fell for them, the way he told them he loved them before he told her that he loved her. The things he did, even though he was like, he's just a college kid, but he was like, you know what, I think I need to buy a car seat for the little one. I melted so much. And the way they loved him too, it was just adorable to me. And I really enjoyed their romance. Like, at the end of the day, definitely a black cat golden retriever couple, but I think it worked. Honestly, as much as, like I said, as sad as it was, I think Sadie really needed somebody like Reese. He proved to her over and over and over again that he was staying, that he was not leaving her. And it's obvious that she needed that, considering everybody in her family, except for her two little brothers, left her. So I just really love this book. I have a feeling I'm going to think about this book for a long time to come. I really also love the friendships in this book. Like I said, the friendship between Ro and Sadie, but also between Reese and his teammates. So I'm very interested to read the other books, to see things from their point of view, because there are still some mysteries regarding the other guys. I really want to know what's up with Bennett and his dad, and I also really want to know what's up with Freddie. So very excited to continue on. I think actually, if I have the time, I really want to read Unloved next month, so hopefully I can. But if not, it's going to be definitely a priority, because I believe the third book comes out the beginning of next year. And like I said in one of my earlier updates, I am praying to whichever gods are out there that she's going to write a romance for Toran, and that she's going to write a romance for Reese's parents. If I get those two books, then I'm going to be the happiest girl in the world. Like, I will never complain about anything ever again because my dreams will have been realized, okay? So I think I have yapped enough about this book. I have a feeling you're going to hear me talking about this book for years to come, so I'm going to stop. And yes, you'll see me in my next update. And Listen, I do wanna get to the 24 hours, so I'm gonna do my best. But right now, I'm gonna pause this vlog and I just started Rose in Chains, which by the time you're watching this video, I've already done my review for that, so I'll leave that linked for you. So we're pausing and then we're going back to this vlog. Let me give you the time because I did screenshot it. As you could see, I was listening to J-Lo at the time. So 5 hours and 17 minutes left. And I think that's enough for me to read Bound by Hatred. Just because this book is only 271 pages, but it is a bigger book. Like if I compare it to Unsteady, like it's taller and wider, since this one is indie published, obviously. But yeah, I don't think that this one can top this one, but we'll see. I guess you'll see me when I do my first update for Bound by Hatred. Okay, so I started my final full-length book for this vlog, which, by the way, before I even tell you, this vlog, like this 24-hour reading vlog turned into like a 2-week reading vlog because, let me actually tell you. So the first book I started for this vlog was Maddest Obsession, of course. And let me actually check when I actually started that book. Yeah, I started that book on the 20th of June. And it is currently the 11th of July. So crazy. Like what was supposed to be like maybe a 4-day reading vlog, maybe like if I pushed it, a week reading vlog turned into a literally like a 3-week reading vlog. And it's like it needs to end today. Right now, this is the timer. I have 3 hours and 17 minutes left. And today I have the day off, but I'm flying tomorrow. So I need to pack. I need to clean my house a bit. I need to do a few errands. So anyway, I am currently reading Bound by Hatred and I'm on page 110. And this is the third book in the Born in Blood Chronicles by Cora Reilly, and the first book being Bound by Duty. Is that right? Bound by Honor, sorry, Bound by Honor. And I read Bound by Honor like 3 years ago, I think. And then I read Bound by Duty last year. And this was actually the one I was looking forward to most. So I'm glad I finally got around to it. So this book is the romance between Gianna and Matteo. Gianna is Arya's sister from the first book, and Matteo is Luca's brother from the first book. So they meet each other since their siblings are engaged, and eventually their siblings get married. And when Matteo first meets Gianna, she's like a 14-year-old scrawny kid, but she does have a mouth on her and she is pretty feisty. And he does enjoy that, but like at the time he's 4 years older, he doesn't really think of her that much. Then 4 years later, he meets her again, right around the time Arya and Luca get married. And now she's a woman now, a woman. And he, not only does he still find her entertaining, and he still likes how fiery she is, now he's also very much attracted to her. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him. She wants to get out of this mafia life because she's tired of being, she doesn't want to be a mafia princess. She doesn't want all this violence and death and destruction. She wants like a normal life. But Matteo does intrigue her. And actually on the night that on Arya and Luca's wedding night, Matteo and Gianna actually end up kissing. And she thought, you know, she thought that that would be enough to cure her of whatever she's feeling for him. But instead, it just adds fuel to the fire, basically. But she still doesn't want this life. And she knows, like, that is, like, if you look at this cover, it's a bird in a cage. That is exactly how she feels. She feels like she's a bird in a cage at her father's house. And she knows if she gets married to if she gets married to a made man, that will just be a different cage, but she's still stuck in there. Matteo, since he is so intrigued with her, he wants to get married to her. So he asks her father for her hand in marriage. And her father, even though he's a bad guy, we hate him, fuck that guy, she is kind of a pain in his ass, so he agrees, even though that wouldn't really be beneficial to him and his aspirations, considering he already has one daughter married off to like the New York mafia. But since Gianna's such a troublemaker, he agrees. When Gianna finds out that she is now engaged to Matteo and she had no say in that whatsoever, she decides to flee. And of course, he ends up chasing her. Which, that is one of my favorite, like, microtrope, is microtrope whenever, like, the FMC is fleeing from the MMC and he is chasing her all over the world. One of my favorite Immortals After Dark series books has that plot, which is Dark Sky. I really tend to enjoy that. So she flees to Europe. So that is basically the plot so far. I am really enjoying this book. It is so easy to read for me. Like, it just, I don't know, her writing style is so easy. I also like the fact that there's chapter breaks in between. So that just means I tend to like shorter chapters and chapter breaks because it's that easy for me to say, okay, let's just continue on to the next chapter break. I like both characters. They're definitely, at least she's very much different than Arya. I like these feisty, prickly heroines. Gianna is definitely that. And if I compare her to the other Gianna I read in this vlog, she definitely has a personality. And like, once she gets a taste of freedom, she grabs it with both hands and tries to make something of that freedom. And especially if I compare her to the other Gianna. I talked enough about that, but like, they are definitely two different heroines. And what I really like, I also really like Matteo. Like, I like how he respects her grit. He respects that she fights back. Let me actually read you a quote. Okay, so this is after something happened to Gianna and he's there to like rescue her basically. This is like at the beginning of the book, like page 39. So he has to take her to one of the bedrooms and this is what he says. I really want to take her to the room I slept in when we were in the mansion, but I didn't want to have a fucking fight. Not until Gianna was fit enough to be an equal contestant. So I just like the fact that, yes, even though he's also shaped by his worldviews, obviously, and it's clear, obviously, in here that these men definitely don't respect these women, but I just like the fact that he does. Like, he definitely sees her as an equal contestant, and I enjoy that. I like them together. So far, not much has happened, but I think they're very hot together, very entertaining. I'm about halfway through, and I just flew through these pages. So I think I will have no problem finishing this today. And I am interested to see like what kind of compromise they will get to. She is right. It will be some sort of cage for her. But I'm interested to see like what kind of, once they do actually end up together, how that will work. Also, since she actually ran away, everybody else in the mafia expects him to like punish her for it because she definitely disrespected him. So I'm also interested to see how he will navigate that. But like I said, I'm very entertained. He's definitely obsessed and definitely possessive. Like from the beginning, he's like, you're mine. Okay, every single inch of you is mine. And I, obviously, you guys know, I tend to enjoy that. As far as like the obsession goes, I can understand why he's obsessed with her. But I don't know. I just have to come to terms with the fact that with these obsessed heroes, I have to believe that it's in their personality to become obsessive. And it is like one of the girls, like something about her makes them obsessed. Because so far I haven't found any compelling reason for these guys to be so obsessed. But I mean, with this one I can understand. Like, especially like in the beginning when he sees Arya for the first time, it grates on him that she's so demure and that she doesn't even look at Luca and she has her eyes to the ground the whole time, whereas Gianna has no issues looking him in the eye and kind of insulting him, even though everybody knows that he could snap her, like he could like ruin her and destroy her basically, and she still doesn't care, which makes her definitely a brave character. So yeah, I definitely am enjoying it. I also like seeing all the other characters that will have their romances. So I really am loving seeing Liliana, which her book's gonna be next. And I already like the things between, like the scenes we get between her and Romero. And I also really like seeing Fabi, which of course his book starts off the Camorra Chronicles, which is the series I'm looking forward to most. So I'm gonna continue. Like I said, I have some errands, so I'll take my book with me. There's a lot of clouds today, so hopefully it won't rain. So hopefully I can read a bit on my way to my errands. And then I'll just give you my final update once I'm done. And we'll have to see how much time I have left on my timer, whether or not I can or want to read something else. So see you then. So I finished Bound by Hatred yesterday, and I'm gonna give it 4 stars, mainly because I honestly think this book is too short. I feel like we got the beginning of their story, but we never actually get to see them happy and in love. That all happens in like the 3-page epilogue. And I get it, sometimes in some romances, the couple do decide to be together, like in the final chapter, that is fine. But with the romances that I prefer, at least there's like a chunk or a bit where the characters are happy together, whereas Gianna, it seems like she was miserable the whole time, or else she was telling herself that she was so stubborn. and like that is what makes her a fun character, but the way that she was so stubborn to still insist to the very last moment that she didn't want to be with him, that she still wanted to flee, just soured me a bit on this book. Still a 4-star. It was enjoyable. I flew through this book. Like it wasn't a hardship to read at all. But I guess I just wasn't convinced at the end of the day that they would last until the end, because I never actually got to see them happy and in love. I just saw him wanting her and kind of forcing her hand to be with her, and her first running away from him and then kind of accepting her fate, I guess, that this is like the best mafia guy she could get in her circumstances, which annoys me a bit because he is portrayed as this open-minded guy, not like every other mafia guy. So I would have liked to see them be together, her have a bit of freedom, and to see how that dynamic would work, because I do think that that's the kind of husband he is, that he would allow his wife to have a bit more freedoms than maybe other mafia wives get. But we never got to see that because he never trusted her, rightfully so, to give her those freedoms, and she never really tried, in this book at least. So that's why I feel like this is just the first part of their story, which makes me sad that we don't get like a book 2 for them, because we do get it for Luca and Arya. Whereas, I don't know, it felt like to me, I don't know, maybe it's because we've seen Luca and Arya in the other books that I feel like, okay, so obviously they're happy together. Whereas in this book, I don't know, I just have to believe it because the characters tell me to. And that's why I feel like the jump to love, I couldn't get, I couldn't take that leap with them, because I feel like we never really spent time really exploring the love part of it. Like the sex was great. Like that, they had sex frequently and that made sense why she would enjoy that. But we never had any quiet moments between them. We never really had them. Like, we didn't even go on one date. We never really had one conversation between them where he explained his side of the story, she explained hers. The only time they actually had some meaningful conversation was after the sex, and then it was like for a couple of minutes until one of them shut down, which I would understand given their position at that time. And I do think it is due to the pages, because this is not a long book. It's 272 pages. I feel like if we got 50 more pages of like these quiet moments between them, or of like their HEA, or of their like them just having meaningful conversation about the past, then maybe I would have like really believed in this romance. I do think these two are perfect for each other. I do. And like I said, I did enjoy myself. Like I wasn't bored with this book. I wasn't angry at all. Like if I compare it, but obviously like if I compare it to the other mafia romance, obviously I gave that one a 2-star. This is definitely not a 2-star, not by a long shot. But I just feel like it needs a little bit more pages, and I want more depth, I guess. But I think I will get that in the Kimura Chronicles. Like I said, I had an enjoyable time. I really love seeing Arya and Luca, and kind of Luca annoyed me in this book, I'm not gonna lie. Like the way he and Gianna were so antagonistic towards each other. It makes sense, because he sees that she's hurting his brother. And we're obviously seeing Luca from Gianna's perspective, whereas obviously in Arya's book we're getting her perspective about him. What else? I think that's it. Also, I'm ending this vlog now because I have to leave for the airport in about 2 hours. So let me tell you where I'm at with the timer, because we're just stopping. I'm done with this vlog. So 37 minutes and 52 seconds left. We're just leaving it at that. So 23 hours and like 20 minutes I read, I guess. Yeah, like I said, this vlog felt all over the place. I was editing a bit and I did realize that I was sick in the first week. So I think that is also what kind of messed me up a bit. But overall, I did enjoy it. So for this vlog, I read The Maddest Obsession, which I gave 2 stars. I read Deviant King, which I gave 4 stars. I read Unsteady, which I gave 5 stars. And I read Bound by Hatred, which I gave 4 stars. So overall, a good reading vlog. I don't know if this will help me with my dating life, but I do think, yes, I can definitely up my standards a bit. Like if a guy doesn't text me for 3 days, I'm like, okay, then we're just stopping, because Mateo would definitely, like, Mateo wouldn't do that. Christian wouldn't do that. Reese definitely wouldn't do that. So I think it will help me in that aspect. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Also, what are your favorite obsessed MMC romances? Leave that in the comments below, because I'd definitely be interested to read more, of course. And I'm planning on doing more of these vlogs. I don't know if I'm gonna structure it in a 24-hour way, because this was a fail, but I wanna do more vlogs reading a couple books from the same genre. I was planning on doing a cowboy romance one and a hate to love or enemies to lovers. So if you have any genres, subgenres, or like tropes, mainly tropes, that you want me to do a vlog for, leave that below and I'll definitely try and do it. And I know this is gonna be a long vlog, so definitely leave me a emoji with heart eyes to say that you were still here. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.